Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome back to some more Let's Play Splatoon. Last time, we got all the remaining sunken scrolls and we completed every single level left here in the game with only one thing left to do, and that is for us to jump into this launcher here and jump on over to that UFO, because that is where the final boss of the game resides. This is it, the final fight. Let's finish this. Enter the Octobot King. Stay back, Agent 3. It's a trap. Figures. But we don't have a choice. Agent 2's right. We don't have a choice. So with that said, let's finish this. Let's go ahead and take on the final boss of the game. Yeah, I'ma remix your face. This is the final boss of the game, DJ Octavio. He is the one in charge of all the Octarians. And I gotta say, in terms of design, this is probably one of the most unique boss fights I have seen in gaming in a long time. This guy is so cool in terms of design. What you need to do in this fight is you need to wait for him to launch out his fists, and once you do enough damage to those, you'll push him back by having him punch himself in the face. So, DJ Octavio, you gotta stop hitting yourself, man. It's not good for your health. Once you push him back enough times, he'll get ready for this giant super attack on you. A giant bomb that'll do a lot of damage. So you're all ready for this? He'll shoot out his bomb, and as you see, it's wearing sunglasses. More specifically, it's wearing hater shades. These useless yet fashionable looking sunglasses just add a nice flair to his attack, a nice little design choice. They don't serve any purpose whatsoever. They don't do anything special for this guy, but they look cool. And that's the entire point of DJ Octavio's design in general. A lot of the stuff he's doing, it's just because it looks cool. It doesn't really have any practical use. But in terms of look, yeah, he's definitely out there, that's for sure. And I really like him in terms of design. But in terms of actually fighting him, not so much, because to be honest, this boss fight just goes on longer than it should. It overstays its welcome, in my opinion, because this boss fight can take you over 10 minutes, especially on your first playthrough. Because you have to wait for him to punch you, and then once he's far enough back, you gotta wait for him to launch out his giant bomb. And all of it's just wait, which is really annoying. And unfortunately, if this didn't have any waiting time, I would feel like this would probably be my favorite boss fight in the entire game, by far, because of his design. But with the wait time, even though he has a really cool design, I just don't like playing this boss fight as much, because it takes forever. I mean, he's mixing his music that he's playing right now in the fight, he's mixing that with wasabi. Like, how cool is that in terms of design? It's so cool. But when I have to sit here and wait like over a minute just to have him launch down his giant death ball like this, or his death bomb I should say, it's not really a ball. If I gotta wait for this thing for over a minute, that's no fun. It just doesn't need to be this long. If the boss fight wasn't as dragged out as it was, I would enjoy this one a lot more. But the more I play this boss fight in the game, the less I like it, just because it's a little too long. Like I mentioned earlier, if this boss fight wasn't as dragged as it was, like if he just did some of his attacks a little earlier than he actually does, then I would enjoy this fight way more than I do. Because I already really like the fight, but it's just so drawn out, it overstays its welcome after a while, unfortunately, and there's just nothing you can really do about that. It's just one of those unfortunate circumstances. But luckily for us, since we know what we're doing, this boss fight isn't really that difficult, and especially because we know what we're doing, we're not really taking any damage here, even though he's throwing so much at us. In the first phase of the fight, he starts off small. He just shoots missiles at you, he'll punch you once in a while, In the second phase, he throws more punches at you, so he'll punch you with both fists at once. But he'll also activate a killer whale, so if you're not careful, that will do a lot of damage. And then the third part here, he starts throwing out these red little balls, which if you let these hit the ground, then they'll release enemies for you to attack now as well. So you want to go ahead and destroy those before they hit the ground, because if you do so, then you'll kill the enemies instantly. You don't need to worry about them spawning. They'll just die before they even load into the game, which is very convenient since the enemies in these red balls are randomized. You can have pretty much any enemy come out of them. You can have octoballs, standard octolings, you have the ones that shoot bombs at you, the ones that just fly around. It could be basically wherever the game feels like giving you at the time. So you want to destroy those red balls before they hit the ground immediately. That way, you just save yourself some time, and possibly a headache as well, if you don't like dealing with those enemies and a boss at the exact same time. Let's just go ahead and push him back here. You need to be very mindful as well, when you're pushing DJ Octavio back like this, that you actually keep up with him. If you don't keep up with him, he will actually move back to where he was. So you could be pushing him back and just waste all that time by just waiting a little too long to move forward, and then he just moves back to where he was. So you have to capitalize on that immediately. Just move forward. There's a box behind us here, which if you break, it'll actually give you another Inkzuka, but because I already have one, I'm not going to bother, and I'm actually going to be using this one soon. I don't need to use it now, so I'm going to hold on to it, and since we already have it, it just helps to skip the other one. So we'll just go ahead and push him back here with his fist one more time, and let's go ahead and get a move on now. We gotta go. So we didn't push him back far enough to do his attack, so unfortunately, we need to wait around for one more cycle, even though he's like a couple feet away from launching his Hater Shades bomb attack. That's how annoying this is. He's that close, but yet he won't do it. So we just have to push him back just a little bit. Just with that one fist is all we need, because now we can't push him back any further. He's done. So that's annoying. But now it's time for him to drop the sea base and launch out his Hater Shade bomb. So here, the first time, I'm going to just go ahead and shoot it normally, just like so. And now with that done, let's go ahead and activate the Inkzuka here and just go crazy. And I barely got that last shot out, so I'm surprised that worked. How dare you! What's this? Where's my beats? Agent 3, can you hear our song? Radio override activated. Huh? That heavenly melody. It's the one and only Squid Sisters. Don't you ever worry your granddaughters like that again. Agent 3, take care of Grants for us, okay? Final push time. Let's do this. Now it's finally revealed that Agents 1 and 2 are none only than Callie and Marie, the two Squid Sisters that we see in Inkopolis. They're the ones that host the news. They're the ones that tell us when new stages appear and everything. And they're the ones that are singing the song we are hearing now. Which I love this song so much. It's one of my favorite songs in the game. It's so good. And it's really cool that they finally revealed that Agents 1 and 2 are the Squid Sisters. Because when I first seen the designs, I immediately screamed, yeah, Agents 1 and 2. They look so much like Callie and Marie because they have the same color scheme. They look and sound very similar. So right from the beginning, I knew who they were. It's pretty obvious, to be honest, but they finally revealed here, and they also revealed that their grandfather is Captain Cuttlefish, which, first time playing, I didn't know that until they revealed it, so that's a nice little fact to know about. But what I like, though, is when this song finally activates, Captain Cuttlefish has enough strength to break free of his rope. So he just shows that at any time, he could have just broke free of his prison there and just walked away. Well, probably not walked away because he's kind of just stuck floating on that little planet-looking object, so he probably wouldn't have been able to just walk off of that and have no issues, but I do like how he just breaks out of his rope just because of music. Like, why didn't you do that sooner? It probably would have made your life a lot easier, but he didn't do it. But now we just have to be very careful because this is the final push that we're making. This is literally it. So after these attacks, we will be done with the boss fight. And unfortunately, because I missed one of his fists, this comes back to that long waiting time I have with this boss fight. I had to kind of wait it out, or not. Oh, wow, I'm surprised. I thought I was having to wait for another fist cycle, which I'm glad I don't, because that would have taken a lot longer than it needed to. But this is it. You're just going to go ahead and attack us a couple more times. Right here, I'm going to go ahead and activate my bubble. And unfortunately, that didn't work out. So that's what happens if you miss your timing there. That will just burst right away, because it's basically a giant burst bomb. But it does way more damage than a burst bomb. So you don't want to let that hit the ground. You want to attack that right away. And as you see here in the very final push, it moves extremely fast. So you have to be very mindful where it's going. Aim for it right away. And that is it. Time to finish you. So just shoot him, ink him up, and he is defeated. Oh no. So sad. Crossfade to black. Well, he's dead. He's clearly dead after that. Because who survives an attack like that, really? But we did it. We saved the Great Zapfish. It's back in the Inkopolis Plaza. So we're back at the title screen now. So let's go ahead and confirm and get our new news bulletin. Okay, it's late, but we got a midnight news flash. Wait, what's going on? What time is it? The Great Zapfish is back on Inkopolis Tower. Whoa, for serious? That's a shocker. Where was it anyways? I guess we'll never know. Well, hey, at least it's back now. Yeah, let's rock. At this hour? Why not? And that's it. That was the single player for Splatoon. It's all done. Final thoughts on the single player aspect, because we're not done with the game at all yet. We still have a lot to look at. But single player wise, I love this game. It's very, very fun. Because the platforming element in this game, it's really solid for the mechanics you're dealing with. Since this is not your average shooter, it has platforming elements here as well, as you noticed. So it's really fun to go through. Since platformers are my thing, and you mix this new style of shooting with it, I feel like this worked out really nicely. And it's a very fun time. If you own Splatoon and you haven't played through the single player campaign in the game yet, you owe it to yourself to play through it, because it's short, sure, because this only took us 9 videos to go through, but the single player is a very enjoyable time, and to be honest, it's a very good way to get you into the game, because it gets you familiar with some of the basic weapon types, because it gets you familiar with the standard ink shot that you'll be dealing with in the multiplayer mode. You get to see 3 types of bombs. You get to go ahead and learn all the basic mechanics of the game, and you get to learn some strategies too that you can use in multiplayer while seeing some of the multiplayer maps. So I honestly say, if you haven't played through the single player mode of Splatoon yet, play through it, because it is a very fun time. But we're not done with the game yet, because as I just mentioned with that whole spiel, this was just the single player component. There's still more to look at. There's still all the multiplayer modes. There's still everything in Inkopolis in general we haven't looked at yet. And there's also the amiibos, adding even more single player stuff to the game. So we'll be looking at over all of that here very, very soon. Because the next thing we are going to be looking at is everything you can do in Inkopolis, starting with the amiibos, since that does cover more single player. So we'll continue on with the single player for now, and once we're done with the amiibos, we'll be moving on into the multiplayer of the game. But I do want to go ahead and mention this, because at the time of recording this, I had no idea this was going to happen, but I started to record this game not too long after I got all my new hardware. So this is after I got a newer computer, a newer capture card and everything. I was waiting to record this game for a while, because I was waiting for a lot of stuff to fall into place. And by the time I started to record this game myself, one of the people who I follow and who actually does a very detailed walkthrough of pretty much every game he plays, he started to play through this game. So unintentionally, I started a playthrough of Splatoon around the same time that Chugga Conroy does. This was totally unintentional, but to be fair, this kind of works out in my favor, since I had another playthrough to reference and another one to send you guys over to. Check out his playthrough for a full detailed list of all the multiplayer aspects of this game, because he shows off every single weapon of the game. He'll show them off in detail, and I won't be able to do as much of that as he can. So you want a full detailed list of everything in the game? I highly recommend checking that playthrough out. It was a coincidence that we both started this at the same time, or at least somewhere similar, because I know I'm uploading this a lot later than he did, but it was just a big coincidence. I just wanted to get that out of the way now. I at least talk about it in a video, because I know at this point, I probably talked about it on social media. But once you beat the single player, you get a lot of gear. You get the hero suit replica, you can go ahead and use in multiplayer. You get the Octo suit replica stuff, so you can go ahead and wear that. And that's not it. If you collect those 5 scrolls from single player, you can go ahead and use those in multiplayer as well. So let's go ahead and head back into the single player mode so we can see that final scroll. But that's not all. We see Captain Cuttlefish is back now, and he's greeting us in. Agent 3, I've been waiting for you. Thanks to you, peace has returned to Inkopolis. Not anyone besides me will we thank you for it. But that's the hero way. The path we walk is a lonely one. Oh, this guy? This is none other than DJ Octavio himself. I figured I'd let him rest here for a while. He's been through a lot. I'ma get you, Cuttlefish. Isn't he cute? You know, Bucko, that gleam in your eye is even stronger now. You have my eternal gratitude. Ahoy! What's this? Yeah, it's probably nothing. Nothing, huh? I mean, this is kind of important. In fact, if you go into this, it's the credit sequence again. So if you actually want to play through the credits again, you can. We won't, because we literally just watched them. So what's the point? So yeah, you can go ahead and play through the credits again if you want to see those. And now we go ahead and check our sunken scrolls here. And the final one here is in our inventory. So now we have every single scroll in the game. If we go ahead and hide, you can go ahead and see every single blueprint design. So we can go ahead and take a look at what all these will do once we go back to the main plaza. But that is it. We actually have DJ Octavio alive, so he didn't die, even though he looked like it with all that ink coming all over the place off of him. Looked like he exploded, but no, he just shrunk down. Now he's inside of a globe. If you shoot his little globe here, he just kind of panics a little bit, and that's about it. With DJ Octavio bottled up here, the great Zapfish is finally safe. That is right. So with that said, that's it. We're done with single player. We've done everything we can here in this area of the game. So with that said, we're not done with Splatoon yet. So the next time we meet, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the amiibo functionality in Splatoon, because that'll add yet more single player stuff to the game. That said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.